thanks for joining us, folks. Ken is on a business trip, so for this episode, it's just me, so you have to just tolerate with my situation here. So on the show this week, we have some really special guests. I want to introduce you to Silke Sommerfeld and Rolfe Oetter. Tried to get that right.
Just the animal.
Yeah. These folks are traveling across Canada in their Model X, and they're towing a trailer. Tell us a little bit about yourselves and what you're doing.
Well, first, thank you for meeting here with us. So, well, I've never been into cars before. I never really had interest in cars very much until Rolfe got his Model S. And from then on, all of a sudden, I'm completely changed. Such a great car. And I got my own, and I love it. And then last year, we went to the Tesla Model X launch party.
Yes.
Amazing event. We really enjoyed it.
They know how to throw a party, don't they?
We missed the Gigafactory factory.
Well, apparently they had a lot of drinks, but not enough food.
Well, we were strategically positioned. We were good. So around the same time, we were looking into replacing our gas motorhome. Mm-hmm. Couldn't quite make up our mind though, because having switched to 2 electric cars, it didn't quite feel right. So at the launch party, they towed the Airstream trailer onto the stage.
Yes.
And Rolfe had already an order in for Model X. So this was our moment where we thought, wow, okay, here is the solution. And we always wanted to cross Canada. It's been on our bucket list for a very long time.
Yes.
And here we are.
Awesome.
Over 9,000 kilometers later in Toronto, 8 weeks into the trip, and not done yet.
And, well, of course not.
Worth mentioning, that night after the party, she did not sleep. And she presented me with this crazy idea the next morning.
Yeah.
Really?
It was my idea, yes.
And so far it's been working out well for you?
It's pretty good. Pretty interesting.
Getting lots of interest?
Yeah, and seeing lots of the country.
Most of it is meeting amazing people that do something in small and bigger things thrown everywhere.
Yeah.
And to see this enthusiasm having spread and put their roots so deep into, even the Canadian prairies.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's nice to see. It's really uplifting.
Good. Awesome. Okay, Rolfe, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself then for our viewers? Who are you and what do you do?
I'm retired.
Oh, nice feeling.
I was smart enough to have a wife that wanted me to retire early. And which I did, which we were able to do. I own a software company and handed it off to the younger kids that still want to change the world. And I changed the world now in a different way.
Oh, trying
to promote sustainable energy and transport, dealing with solar in our house, and for the wintertime we live on a boat, and that's completely off-grid with solar, and making our own water on the boat, and
very good. Awesome.
It's interesting. It's interesting to do real engineering again.
Yes.
After being trained as an engineer and then having to do management.
Okay, so given that our show is focused on EVs, and in particular the Tesla Model 3, what can you tell our eventual owners and some of our viewers who might be concerned about charging the car? So most of them seem to think that they can only charge at superchargers because that's the thing that gets most of the attention. What's been your experience considering that you're traveling across Canada with a trailer in tow, no doubt?
First of all, I would like to say that there is no worry at all as long as you do short distance travel, because you will always be able to charge in your garage. So absolutely no problem there. So the interesting question is, yes, about the long distance. And Rolfe here is the one who can tell us all about the different ways of charging.
Well, I've always told people an electric vehicle is like a cell phone. If you can find a plug, you can plug it in.
Yes,
that's
right.
What
he said.
You don't have to go to a special place to charge an electric vehicle, unlike a gasoline car where you got to go to that special gas station.
Yeah, so last night my car was plugged in behind the hotel here.
Yeah.
At an outlet. I asked around because the block heater outlets are switched off during the summer here.
Yeah.
Sometimes you find them working. I've used those, and so I was charging there overnight. Slow, but
So it was 110, not a level 2?
110.
110.
110.
On a 90 kilowatt hour battery pack.
But then for lunch, or before lunch this morning, I brought the car over to the Tim Horton, which at least has a low and level 2. And so if you fill it up a little bit more there, it's a 5-minute walk, not a problem. And if I go visit friends, family, it's always the dryer outlet. I have an extension cord for it, unplug the dryer, plug it in, overnight, full car. When people ask me how long does it take to charge a car, 6 seconds.
Okay.
When I come home, put it in my garage, I get out of the car, I grab the wand, plug it in, 3 seconds. Now I have to enjoy my evening with the family, have a sleep, wake up in the morning, I come into my garage, I unplug the car, put the wand back, another 3 seconds. And that I do 95 out of 100 times.
That's right.
Well, normal people do. We are crazy. We've already traveled 28,000 kilometers long distance this year. And the year's just half over.
And not all of it with the X.
Yeah, but when we didn't do that yet, when we had our first electric car, the Model S, that's what I did.
Yeah.
I maybe charged 2 times, 3 times in the year and a half that I had it at a supercharger.
Yeah.
The other times I was charging at home. So if I do that 95 out of 100 times a year, then I'm doing it about, let's say, twice a week for 51 weeks. That's more than 100 times.
Yes.
And every time it's only 6 seconds. While filling up a gasoline car is 5 minutes. You may have to do a little bit of a detour, 1 or 2 blocks,
Sure.
and so on and so on. 100 times 6 minutes, more than 100 times.
It adds up.
That's 600 minutes, that's 10 hours. By the time I start my long distance travel in the year, I'm 10 hours ahead of the gas guy.
Yeah.
And then if I'm lucky to have superchargers, then I never wait for the car because we arrive there after several hours of driving. We plug in, we go for a coffee and a bathroom break. And by that time, the car, I'm almost ready to go. Where are you? Now, we also have experienced 4,500 kilometers of driving between 2 superchargers. One was in Red Deer, Alberta,
Yes.
and then there's some crazy pictures about us hugging the supercharger.
Thank you.
Barrie, Ontario.
We did miss them.
They are adding some more.
Yes, I
Tesla's
saw-
supposed to be opening a service center right here in Oakville.
Nice.
Yes, and I just checked last night, supercharge.info,
Yes.
and there are 2 under construction, one north of Barrie going along the lakes,
Yes.
and one north of Barrie going straight up north.
Huntsville.
Yeah, Huntsville, and the other one I forget now. Somewhere in the direction of
Bracebridge.
yeah,
I think
direction of
it's
Sudbury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
So they are under construction there. So happening.
So, considering your experience, the amount of distance that you've driven so far in the vehicle, if somebody was to do the same thing, let's say in a Model 3, and let's say that supercharging is an optional add-on to the vehicle, because at that price, obviously, we can't expect it to be included in the price. Let's say the price is, say, $2,000. Is it money well spent?
It always depends on your convenience factor, your tolerance to dealing with waiting,
Okay.
how often you travel. Because now the good thing is, or the bad thing for us is, when we're towing a trailer, we need a lot of jet energy. We are probably using at least double what a Model 3 will use.
Yes.
So each charger that we would be using would be twice as fast for Model 3 than it was for us.
Mhm.
So if we need 3 hours, you would need 1.5 hours to then drive the same distance. And on top of that, Ontario is putting in a lot of chargers. And many of them are DC chargers. And I hope they don't just put them into Toronto, Ottawa, and
They
city
are all
centers.
over the highways. We have a link on our website, and I'll put a link in the show description so people can look for themselves. Ontario publishes a map of where they are going to be installing these level 2 and level 3 chargers.
Yeah.
And it's spread out all over the place. And we expect that map to grow eventually, if, like I'd say, in a second round of financing down the road. But it is at least level 2. And the level 3 chargers, by the way, are Chatamo and Combo CCS.
In my opinion, if there's a charger, it should be level 3.
Should be fast. Otherwise, it's not convenient, and that's what you need when you're traveling long distance. You need fast chargers.
Yes.
You don't want to be stuck somewhere for 3 or 6 or 12 hours.
I mean, where we need level 2 chargers, so at this hotel, doesn't happen.
The hotels and at home, places where you're going to stay overnight, extended
Exactly.
periods of time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where I stay overnight. At Tim Horton.
Well, if you have a Nissan Leaf that can't go very far, maybe you just kind of need that. But a Tesla obviously can go much longer distance.
But there's not. You shouldn't put something into a future infrastructure to make past cars happy, because all the future cars are going to have at least 200 kilometers.
Yes, of course. Yes.
And so, for example, the Tim Horton here, 30 amps at 208 volts. It's 14 kilometers per hour for me towing a trailer.
Yeah.
10 hours for 140 kilometers. I'm not going to spend.
Yeah.
The car fees are not that big. And get
Well, I think that kind of leads me into my next question. I was going to ask you, considering you're towing a trailer, and we know even with conventional vehicles that when you tow anything of any kind of weight, it affects your distance and your fuel consumption. So what has been your experience towing your trailer? And we'll go up and take a look at the trailer in a little while. What has been your experience so far as charging? Because Elon has also confirmed that the Model 3 will have a hitch option on it. So some people will probably consider getting that. It might end up being only a Class 2. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, we really haven't had the experience to go between superchargers yet.
Okay.
We will have that a little bit once we start going east from here.
Yes.
So we can't really speak to that. We have just a tiny bit in BC, but it wasn't enough to give us.
Because there's nothing in the prairies.
There's nothing in the prairies. 4,500 kilometers between superchargers. Well, we did zigzag.
Yes.
So a straight line, maybe 3,000 or 3,500. So we don't have the experience yet. That's something I want to find out, because that determines a little bit what we're going to do after we're finished in St. John's Newfoundland. Do we want to continue on pulling the trailer, or are we actually shipping it back to BC? Because we're actually going south after this.
Our viewers are not necessarily Tesla people. They put down a reservation on the hype or the expectation of the vehicle. So they have all kinds of questions. Even in our show, they call in all the time and they say, what about charging? What about charging? Because obviously, as you know, dealing with the public, the first thing is, how can I charge it? How long does it take? So these are the kind of things that we need to cover to reassure people that this is not a special thing. Everybody knows about the superchargers, but that's not the only place you can charge the vehicle.
I think the important thing here is, if you visit friends or family overnight, get an extension cord for a dryer outlet. Unplug the dryer somewhere in the basement, run it out.
Now, do you need a special adapter when you say that? Because every Tesla vehicle comes with the UMC, which is the Universal Mobile Connector, which is the one that you plug into the car and it will go into a 110 or 220.
Yes.
Now, it's a NEMA 1450 connector on the end?
You can get all kinds of adapters for it, including also the NEMA 1430.
1430, which is the dryer, which is
But what I have done is I've made a cable that has a NEMA 1450 on one side.
Yes.
And on the other side, I have a 1450 into which my Tesla plugs.
I see.
I just manually have to dial it down from 40 amps to 24 amps.
On the screen.
80% of maximum of the breaker rating.
And what do they use at the campgrounds?
At the campgrounds, most of the times it's TT30.
Okay.
That is double the wall plug. So 120 volts, 30 amps.
So it's still 30 amps.
Yes, and only 120 volts.
I see.
And for that, you need to have a special adapter.
I would like to add one more thing to your question about whether people should get the supercharger package.
Okay, yes, please do.
Again, here I would say that if people are planning to only use the car locally, they don't need it.
Probably don't need
Absolutely not. If they plan to travel to the US and around the US, absolutely, because it will be so much fun exploring this huge country via the supercharger network. And my personal hope is that it will be just as much fun in Canada at some point.
Very cool.
As we get the chatham of the DC chargers coming through the Ontario program, and other programs will come probably as well.
Yeah.
especially on the Model 3, which doesn't use that much power per kilometer driven. The 50 kilowatt Chatamo chargers,
should be adequate.
they're absolutely adequate also for doing.
That seems to be the consensus, that 50
Yes.
kilowatts should
Yeah.
be good for most people, even
For
though
us,
the
again, because
superchargers.
we use double as much.
Yeah.
But it's okay. We would be happy to have one.
Yeah. Well, they are expanding because I think I remember at the Model 3 launch event that they showed, a world map, and I did see some spots come up on the East Coast, right into Sydney. So
Yeah,
if you pay
so-
attention, you can see them.
Yeah, so there are two things. First of all, Tesla said they will double the number of superchargers before the Model 3
Yes.
gets it from the reveal event. So that's in 15 months, they're doubling it.
That's right.
And they're just coming online almost on a daily basis
Yes.
in the world. Be sure when you get your Model 3, you will drive much more than ever before.
Oh.
Much more.
Because
And
it feels good.
And you will want to do long distance
Oh,
trips.
yes, that's
And
true.
If you think that we are crazy doing this, like we met a couple in their 70s with a Model S70D
Yes.
in southern Idaho,
Mhm.
coming back from Florida, and they were going back to Seattle from Washington, D.C.
Uh-huh.
They had gotten that Model S last year in August, and before the winter set in, they also went over to Virginia or the Carolinas and back. So they were in their 70s, and all their couple, the second trip going across the U.S. When I asked them, did you ever do that with your gasoline car before? No, that would not be fun. This is fun.
It seems to be the consensus of both Tesla owners that it makes driving fun again.
It is driving.
Yes, a lot.
Yes.
And once you
Even
have,
for women.
and you can expect a much better autopilot than we have now.
Yes, I think that's expected. It's coming a lot sooner than people think.
Even today, the autopilot, after a short while, you know exactly when the autopilot is good, taking care of everything. But you know exactly when you're coming into a situation where the light is bad, where the lines are disappearing, where there's weird traffic going on, and you always have your hand on the wheel and you supervise it. But it's amazing how much less you get tired by not always having to
That's
stay
correct.
in the brain, in the lane,
In the lane.
your brain.
Yeah.
You think you're doing it automatically, you're not.
So you're pulling a special trailer, and it's a little bit different from what most people have probably seen for tent trailers. What can you tell us about your trailer?
Well, there were. I had a few expectations, and Rolfe had a few expectations. So for Rolfe and towing it with an electric car, it had to be lightweight, and it had to be
Low drag.
Low drag. So
Reasonable.
it's a teardrop
Yes.
trailer. And I wanted hard walls. I didn't want a tent trailer, and I wanted my toilet.
As do we all.
So, and then Rolfe found this amazing Alto R1723 from Safari Condo.
Yes.
And it's made in Quebec. And it's not only a teardrop shaped trailer, it has a roof that is retractable. So,
Partially retractable.
Yeah.
Not retractable like,
It's
Pop-up
a
trailer.
pop-up
No,
trailer.
no, it comes down by about a foot.
yeah, and that helps with the drag. Makes it look really, really small when the roof is down, but it's very comfortable inside because the area that gets opened up is all windows. So you don't feel you're in a small trailer. And it has everything we need. It has the toilet. You can even have showers inside. It has 2 beds. It has the sink, stove, and fridge. And it's
And it has a
great.
very high build quality.
Yes.
And then also a little bit of touch of European style design.
We have a lot of viewers that are in the U.S. Do you know if this trailer is available in the U.S. as well?
I am not sure if they have a dealership down there. I hear from many people that they actually pick it up here
Okay.
or have it shipped.
So I know of another person with a Model X and an Alto trailer, a little bit different from ours, in the US. And I wish we could meet because I would love that photo opportunity.
Yeah, pretty unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one little thing there are a lot of little things, just like on the Tesla, there are a lot of little things
Attention to
Tesla has done
Yes.
right that are just neat. Similarly, on this trailer, you look at any trailer out on the road, the air conditioning is sitting on top, like a big air brake. Here, it's inside.
It's inside.
Yeah, so it keeps it smooth.
Aerodynamics matter. A lot of people don't realize that, but aerodynamics matter. Which is why Tesla does things like not a lot of body creases on their vehicles, flush door handles. These things matter.
Yep.
Now, if they could just get rid of the mirrors.
That would be nice because that's like 2% of the drag.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Yeah. It's surprising how much.
But that's also why the consumption of the Model S goes up proportionally more than if I would be towing with an F-150. Because an F-150 is already so bad that putting a trailer behind it doesn't make it much worse.
Yeah.
Unless I get a huge
You're driving a brick, essentially.
I'm already driving a brick and now I'm towing a barn door behind the brick.
Very good. So I understand that you've put some solar panels that are a little bit different on your trailer. So what can you tell us about the solar panels?
Well, Rolfe had fun playing engineer.
Well, that's what he does, right?
Yeah. I've done that with many boats and putting solar panels on and installing lithium batteries. We had very little time. We only had 4 weeks from the time we got the trailer to the time that we wanted to leave.
Yes.
In the end, it was 5.5 weeks because we got the car a little later than we had expected. And so I pretty much had to rush a lot, which means I ran out to my boat and stole the lithium batteries. And I stole the inverter because I didn't have time to go into Amazon and order the things and get them through customs and all this stuff. So I did that. And I had ordered already online before we came back from our previous trip the semi-flexible solar panels. So they are just like the hard solar panels. They're the same cells. The cells are pretty brittle, but so thin that you can
actually curve them.
You can curve them.
Yes.
And they either have, these ones have a hard plastic back,
Okay.
but they also some that have an aluminum sheet back, and then they have a hard plastic over top.
Okay.
Again, there are different versions. There are some that you can walk on for boats. These ones are not the ones that you can walk on, but that also makes them lighter. And I installed 800 watts, so 8 times 100 watts. And they're attached with double-sided tape around the corners and a little bit in the middle, and then caulked around the outside so water doesn't get underneath and freeze up.
Sure.
And then they go into a 60 amp charger. I've seen already over 40 amps coming in at 13 volts. So that's over 500 watts. And since the panels are in a shape like this, so the front and end are probably 30 degrees different angle to the sun at any given time.
Yes.
That's a pretty good result.
That's good.
But for everybody who doesn't want to play engineer like Rolfe, you can actually order the trailer with solar panels. It's just not with 800 watts.
It's not as big as what you've installed.
Yeah.
Nice. So the idea with the solar panels is really to power the trailer. See, the thing is that you'll get a lot of people that are misinformed about solar panels. They think, why doesn't Tesla put solar panels on the car? I said, you have any idea how inefficient they are? I mean, you might be able to charge a cell phone, but certainly not a 90 kilowatt-hour battery pack.
A little bit more than a cell phone, but it would just keep up with the drain, the natural drain, because there are computers running in the background and things that you have. But it would not be there to charge the car.
Oh, of course not.
Absolutely not.
You mentioned earlier that you had changed the batteries in the trailer. Now I'm going to assume that it came with a lead acid battery.
It came with a single lead acid deep cycle.
Okay, and you switched it out mostly for weight reasons, is that right?
No, also way more capacity.
I see.
This one is probably, I haven't calculated it yet, but it's somewhere between 6 and 10 lead acid batteries worth of storage.
Okay.
I have somewhere between 4 and 5 kilowatt hours of storage.
And the battery that you put in there, is it kind of off-the-shelf parts? Are they using 18650 cells?
These are cells that are made in China that you can buy through certain outlets here, but I put my own electronics around.
I see. Okay.
Electromechanics, not electronics.
I would like everybody to know that we're not sponsored or endorsed by Tesla. This is our own private thing. This is our mission. We want to raise awareness for electric cars and solar energy, and
it's our retirement mission.
Excellent. I like to hear that. That's great. So, after your trip is completed, what are you planning on doing? Are you turning around and coming back, or are you going down into the US? What are your plans? What are you doing?
Well, as I said, we had crossing Canada on our bucket list for a very long time, and I still haven't been to the New England states. So that's next for the fall, for the Indian summer. And
you're in for a treat.
Yeah, hopefully we can time that all perfectly, and then we will definitely go take some time in the New England states. And then for the winter, we go south and we will return home next spring.
Well, you'll love it out there. I grew up in the eastern townships of Canada, almost right on the border of the U.S. and the Vermont area. It is absolutely beautiful in the fall.
Yes, and
If you can time it, do it.
well, the good thing is now we are almost there. We will never be in a better place to time it. So we can just stay a little bit longer or drive a little bit faster or something.
The beauties of retirement. Since this is a show about the Tesla Model 3 for a lot of our viewers, and this is really interesting stuff, what are your thoughts on the Model 3? What are your thoughts? Having, obviously being a Model S and a Model X owner, what are your expectations?
Well, I can say it in one sentence and then Rolfe can say way more than that.
All right, go ahead, Silke. What do you think?
I'm totally convinced it will be an awesome car.
You and me both.
Same here. I think in certain areas we have no idea how good it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be really awesome. It's gonna be really awesome. And I think Elon Musk has a few aces up his sleeve. There will be a second reveal. I have my personal bet so my initial bet was, and that was last year, that when the Model 3 is first revealed, within 10 days there will be over 100,000 reservations. Most people thought I was crazy. And within the first 10 days there were almost 300,000 or something like that.
Yes.
And it was within the first 24 hours they had 124,000 or something. My personal bet is that within 10 days again of the second reveal, there will be 1 million reservations. So if you're interested in the Model 3,
put your money down now.
But I think the other thing that will happen is that Elon and his great team will surprise us on how this car is designed for efficient production, how they will be able to ramp up production order of magnitude faster than they did for the Model X.
Oh, yes.
At least. And how quickly they will arrive at a build rate of 500,000 cars per year. That will be going so quick, it will just blow us away. Because when Elon said, after sleeping in his sleeping bag for several months, right at the end of the production line, with the Model X, that he just got hooked on what manufacturing means, right? And I used to be a production automation engineer.
Yeah.
That was my focus, right? And I would love to work for you right now. It just makes my neck hair stand up.
So is he.
It would be so exciting to do that.
I'm in the same boat. Manufacturing absolutely fascinates me. I watch a lot of YouTube videos on other car manufacturers, how they make vehicles. If I wasn't into the computer business, I would have gone for mechanical engineering. It just fascinates me. And you're right. Elon has been obviously speaking a lot more lately on his concept of the machine that makes the machine. I think manufacturing has really galvanized Tesla. Especially with building the Gigafactory over the last few years, of designing the factory for efficiencies, and they've seen what they've been able to produce there, and they've seen obviously the trials and tribulations that they've had with Model S and especially with the Model X, that they're taking all of that knowledge and enthusiasm and putting that into manufacturability of the Model 3, but also thinking about a new way of manufacturing with less people. He's even mentioned, of course, at the Gigafactory party that their intention for future factories is to actually integrate not only the cell and battery production, but the car manufacturing in the same factory.
And the interesting thing about Elon is that he's so good on so many levels. Because if you just see how he blew out of the water basically all large companies in the world, if it's the Russians, if it's European, if it's the Chinese, if it's Lockheed Martin, Launch Alliance, with how they manufacture the SpaceX.
Vertical integration, and always thinking outside of the box. Yes.
Awesome. There is no box.
Not with Elon.
And he will do the same thing with the manufacturing of the Model 3. I'm absolutely sure about that.
And I mean, what people can also expect is the car will come with a lot of small things that maybe nobody will ever really talk about, but that make driving the car really exciting and just living with the car so exciting. And then you get your regular software updates and they make it better and better and better all the time.
It's the only car that gets better with age.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for the interview. So let's take a few minutes and let's go look at your Model X and especially your trailer, because I think a lot of people would like to take a look.
Okay.
See what it's all about. Great, thanks.
Okay.
Right, go.
That's it.
That's what it takes.
That's amazing.
And now I need a minute to set up the inside.
Okay, Silke, you going to give us the grand tour?
Well, yeah.
All right, let's have a look. Wow, look how open this is.
Yeah.
It's too bad I don't have a wide angle lens. This is quite impressive.
Yeah, here we sometimes do our video editing, or we do it outside. And we have the stove, the sink, and the fridge. In here is the toilet, and with a shower curtain, you can also turn
the
it
top
into
raises so that you can...
Well, this just sits because
I made this for more storage
Okay.
because we have computers and
Oh, I see. But there is a privacy curtain.
we took it off.
Okay.
But no,
Yeah.
Well, when you're
Because-
married, you can do that, right?
The roof comes down to here, right?
Yes.
So this all needs to go away.
Right.
And then in the back, that's the big bed, stovetop. Of course, now we brought our induction cooktop.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that works well for you, too.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Wow, this is quite impressive. This is quite a bit of change because, you know, we used to have a camper in the 70s and it was a pop-up tent trailer
Yeah.
and I used to help my dad, you know, kind of set it up and stuff. And yeah, things have come a long way.
Well, and this fan is amazing. The airflow it keeps up is amazing.
Yeah.
And it shuts automatically when it starts raining. And then, as Rolfe
nice.
said, the air conditioning is actually down here.
Oh, it's built in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, you heard it here. It's made in Canada. It's available to you if you want to buy one. Excellent. Thanks for the tour. It's really nice.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah. Let's look at your battery situation first. How did you do this? Sorry about the wind, folks.
So we're sitting at almost 13.8 volts, which means that the batteries are totally topped up. The batteries are sitting underneath here, the yellow things.
Right.
It's all batteries. And this is my protection device that controls these two solenoids.
Yes.
One's power going out. This is going to the inverter. And this here actually is the original cable. And you see
Oh, wow. Look at the difference.
what we're talking about, right? So
It's like
I
a
could drive
6-gauge
it.
wire.
Yeah, I could drive a 3,000 watt, maybe even 5,000 watt inverter with this. I only have a 1,500 watt inverter. That's the one I have. And then the solar is coming in through this fuse, through here, through the solenoid. So if it gets, the batteries are full with these cables, the solenoid opens, no more power coming in.
Very good.
That's the status.
It's
that we have
completely
right now.
automatic.
It's completely automatic, programmable. So, Model X.
Here we go, folks. Another Model X in signature red. Elon, listen, if you're watching this, we need this color on the Model 3. Okay? I don't care what it takes. Make it available, and I will buy signature red. If you watch my previous videos, you know how the doors work now. I made them out of Lego. Oh, some seat covers.
Yeah, well, this is for the dog. Right?
Oh, of course.
The seats actually look like this.
Ah, yes, the black interior. 6-seat option. Excellent. Good choice. I'm trying to convince my wife that if the seats are available on the Model 3 that I'd like to get that. And of course we experienced a car with the gray seats and she says, I think I like the gray more. And I'm like, well, okay, but I really want the white.
The white looks really sharp.
Yes,
and,
it does.
Yeah, but for us with the dog and all that stuff. Well, a little bit?
Yes.
Probably seen that before.
Very good. Are you finding it has about the equivalent amount of room as the Model S, or maybe a little bit less?
Oh yeah, it's really quite amazing. Because when you look in here,
Yeah, I like what they did with the cover there and the two-position cover. That's nice.
I mean,
Yeah, it's very deep.
my arm is not long enough
To reach the bottom.
I'm right at the bottom now.
Mhm.
We have chairs in here, we have our awnings in here, we have cleaning material in here, we have camera in here, we have water for the dog, we have tarps. This thing is just loaded.
Now, you've been everywhere with this vehicle. And of course, when you open the doors, you gather a crowd, I'm sure.
Always, yes. And I'm still in awe myself, so I can't get enough of it.
She must have taken 1,000 pictures.
It's the best.
I'm ready to
picture.
pack up the cars. No. Right now I want to take one. Both doors out. Front door closed and there's an empty.
It is an amazing piece of engineering that they were able to pull off.
Yeah.
I just hope the reliability of them, keeps up. So far, you haven't had any
so
issues.
far, perfect.
Yeah.
No, they're really good.
It can't get any easier, right?
Yeah.
We wanted so much for my grandfather to experience this, but unfortunately he died before we got
Oh,
the
that's
car.
too bad. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, because he's tall and always had a problem with the Model S getting in and out.
Yes.
You want to see his collection of adapters?
Oh, yes, I'd like to see your adapters. What have you got for us?
Actually, I switched
This is what the frunk is for.
Yeah.
Well,
Adapters.
this is the normal UMC.
Yes, that's the
It's
usual.
in NEMA 1450.
Sure.
And as you would see, it fits into here. This is a very special adapter that I got from Jim in Alberta.
Okay.
I have something similar, but not as fancy as this. So I can take two counter outlets.
And combine
Because-
them both and pull juice from both.
Yeah, I'm going from 120 to 240. Or I can use these adapters. And I can take two TT30s and convert them into 120 to 40 amps.
Yeah.
Then this is my ominous extension cord for dryer outlets.
Yes.
See, this one has been removed.
Yes.
You only
Yeah.
need hot and ground. We have a Chanamo.
Yeah, see, folks?
50,
See,
50,
that's
50
the
kilo-
ugly end,
50 kilowatt,
and that's the nice Tesla end. See the
135
difference?
kilowatt.
So,
Who knows something about engineering? Listen, dryer outlet. There's some sort of welding outlet.
okay, so these are for the UMC?
Yes. This is the wall outlet.
Yeah.
110 volts. This is.
So remember, folks, you can plug a Tesla anywhere as long as you have an adapter if you need it.
This is 240 volts. 15 amps, and this is 120 volts, 20 amps.
It's a beautiful car. We
Yes,
love
it is. Yes, it
We're
is.
still very, very happy with it.
Very good.
Yes.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. All right, folks. Well, I think that concludes most of the stuff. So if people want to follow you and your trip, where should they go?
Yeah, please go to TeslaXCanada.com, and then from there you find the icons to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Rolfe is always busy doing YouTube videos as
Very
well.
good.
So
Awesome.
we have it all covered.
He's the next Casey Neistat, huh?
We're working on it.
Great. Well, thanks for the interview, folks, and good luck on your trip. And keep us posted. We'll be certainly watching.
Thank you.
And again, if you want to follow us on Twitter, it's at Model3Owners. And consider joining our forum at Model3ownersclub.com. And thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.